Rise, minions, and welcome to unMadeGaming. We are here for another episode of The Rise. This is our Patreon exclusive campaign. Every member here, or every player here, is a member of our Patreon. Yeah, this is episode 10. This one's called New Trouble in Old Nemoro, and I'm pretty proud of that title. Thank you very much. Yeah, if you guys like what we do here and you want to support the channel, the best way to do that is by going to our Patreon. Link for that down below in the description. While you're down there, click on that link and join us over in the Discord. Be a part of the community. Be a part of the conversation. And, yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, wait, there's more. The bottom right-hand corner, as always, is the corruption bar. That bar serves two purposes. One is when that bar fills, I get to do terrible, horrible things to these people. Two, every single dollar that goes into that bar goes back to this channel for amazing art, hiring my replacement, and all kinds of other fun things, like conventions in the future. With that, previously on The Rise. Armed with the knowledge that they would only be a matter of time before the Reconciliators arrived to wreak havoc in Laredo, the group decided to leave. As if to make matters worse, on the eve of their venture, Galvant informed young Korax that there had been rumors of a sect of cultists called the Final Clave arising again. The road to Old Nemoro was fairly easily traveled, but for the cursed rain that beset the group throughout the night. But as Nod raised in the sky, so too did the walled city just on the horizon. We last left our intrepid group as Mina was waking up from at this point, slowly normalizing dreams, to see the rest of the camp breaking down said camp, and preparing to march up the hill towards Old Nemoro. Love that. So, what are you guys doing?
I think she's doing a lot of the heavy lifting, just, if they had, like, heavy tents and stuff like that, she's literally, like, she'll be, like, rolling it up, picking it up, and strapping it down wherever it needs to be strapped down, because yeah, we don't have any cart other than that wheelbarrow, and the baby's taking that up, so she's just gathering everything.
Yeah, you had found a like a small like precipice, or like an alcove for you guys to sleep under, so it was mostly like underneath a rock, basically was where you guys were able to sleep.
That's perfect. I love that for us.
Yeah, so, you know, super good time for you guys. You found it, so good on you. But it kept you out of the acidic rain that burned through your clothing and into your skin. So, you know, big important thing to happen there. So camp is fairly easy to break down as well. Are you guys just headed straight through to Old Nemoro, or what's the plan?
Mina will look at everyone packing up and say to Korax, I think we should fall back a bit and let the rest go ahead, so we're not the obvious troop that they might be looking for.
When you say us, you and me?
Yeah, we were the only people that showed nimbuses, so if they're looking out for anyone, it's us.
That's fair.
And Terry squints when you guys say that. That's a weird thing to say to her, but she squints as she's listening.
I don't mind being at the back.
Yeah, if we, you know, not too far, but if we don't make it obvious that we're together, anyone that might be looking for a large group with a baby in a wheelbarrow and people that match our descriptions, it might throw them off a bit.
Well, the baby's not really known, is it? She.
Well,
When you say that, Mina looks over at you and says, "That's good to know." Well,
that was a form of a question.
Sure it was.
What?
rhetorical question? I mean,
whatever.
we know that people were after the baby initially.
but yeah, at least not make it obvious that we are who we are.
I mean, if we're at the back, we're at the safest part because we've walked that way already. So I can get a head start on.
Are we in sight of the city? Or the town,
Uh,
whatever it's
yeah.
categorized as.
It's so technically it's a town now. It used to be a city.
Okay.
It is, yeah. So from where you are, once the moon kind of rose in the sky, you were able to see at the top of the hill is this walled city. It's probably a couple hours from where you are, but you have plenty of time to get there.
Yeah, if we walk far enough back behind that we're not obviously with them, but we can catch up relatively quickly if something goes on.
Well,
Actually, may need a better head start than that. I would say maybe about 20 minutes difference, personally.
Yeah, as long as we can keep a visual, and then we'll meet up at a tavern in town.
Do you have a hood? Cover your head.
No.
Korax pulls his hood up
yeah.
and sort of covers as much of his face as he can.
Mm-hmm.
Tucks his hair into his hood. He's used to trying to hide his face.
Okay.
And Terry's pulls her hood up, and she takes kind of like a deep, a small deep breath, and she's like, "I think I have a place that we can go. I know of a place," and she looks up towards the town. We can meet there.
All right. We'll meet there. We'll follow you into town. Like I said, we'll keep within visual distance, and anything goes wrong, we'll catch up quickly. He looks over at Seydlitz. Just keep an eye on us as well.
So who wants the kid in the family then of the groups?
I think they're safer with you guys. Korax and I are the only obvious ones the final clave might be after.
Whatever you say. And she looks to Stephanie and Dreshen.
They are getting their things together. Well, Dreschen is getting their things together. Stephanie is. You can see that she's putting the final wraps around some kind of cloth around the baby. And they look to you. They look to you, Antares, and say, "We'll follow your lead. It's gotten us this far."
She just nods and pulls like a pack up if she's got a pack, just to carry her meager belongings, and all right, let's go.
Okay. So the first group of people is going to be Antares, Dreschen, the child, and Seydlitz. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay.
And Korax and Mina will be the reguard.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Nothing happens on this morning, and you are able to walk the hour or so at whatever casual pace you're looking for. Finding the road back to where you back from where you are now is fairly. It's fairly simple. So you guys are able to do that and walk up the road. The gates to Nemoro are open, and there are no guards. It is easy to note that this would have been a nice stone wall at some point. It is now not. It is not well maintained. Well, not well maintained. Some of the facade is kind of falling apart. You can see through like chinks in the mortar. You can tell that there is not a lot of care put into this wall here. And as you enter the gate, that is even more apparent of the town. There is a rough cobblestone street that kind of runs through it. As far as you can see, you would assume it runs out the other side of the walled portion of the city. You can see that there are 4 large, like, manses, not in the cardinal directions, just kind of scattered throughout the city, that do look slightly nicer than the rest of the surroundings. However, they also look fairly decrepit and old. Most of the wooden structures here are pretty dingy. You see a couple of buildings with like smashed out windows with like a board across them. A few places that have like a shutter as opposed to the 2 shutters that should have. as you kind of make your way through, even the street itself is in disrepair. Mud sort of cakes over a lot of the cobblestone, kind of squelching under your boots as you walk. And as you pass by like alleyways in this cramped city, you see that it is strewn with homeless. There are people huddled en masse in alleyways. You see that there are children. You hear a clatter and the sound of a feral cat in the distance. And as you kind of walk through, none of you look like well adorned, right? None of you look noble, but even the meager wares that you have or clothing that you have on you, you feel eyes on you. This is this was a trade city that has since fallen into disrepute for quite some time now, and you can see that has fallen on the people of Nemoro as you kind of walk by. Every once in a while, you'll see people slightly more middle-classish kind of walking about. Even they look no better than you guys who have seen combat and travel and are fairly world-weary at this point. There is no semblance of security in this town. There's no like guard or anything like that. And you don't see anyone who looks like they would be from one of those mansions that kind of dotted the skyline. And Terry's, you had mentioned that you knew a place here, and you are sort of in the lead of this caravan, even though Korax and Mina are kind of in the distance. They can still see you and follow you to where you're going. So where are you leading people, if at all?
I'm leading them to essentially it's a bathhouse.
Okay.
That she used to frequent when she could. The people there know who she is,
Mm-hmm.
and they give her like a respite essentially when she needs some R&R. And yeah, she's gonna take them there because she knows it's quiet and it's out of the way, and she knows that they can, in theory, as far as she knows, be safe there.
Okay. Cool.
And I'm
Okay.
giving you an XP for that.
Yes, because you're adding a plot. So, we don't normally cover mechanics here, but we've done it from time to time. One of the fun features of XP is that you can add an element to the story. This one was pre-discussed, which is pretty cool. But yeah, you can add a slight element to stories by spending an XP on top of the fact that you can cancel my GM intrusions when I use them against you so viciously. That being said, you lead people through. Everyone who is looking around, make me some kind of intelligence perception based roll. The difficulty is going to be 3.
Can I? Are you identifying or assessing danger?
I will let you argue that, yeah.
A good start.
Potentially not relevant, but discerning true motives are seen through lies.
I will let you roll that also.
And another point for her, when she comes into this town and people, like you said, people are like looking at them and stuff.
Yeah.
She's sticking close to, like, she's not really worried about Seydlitz because he's armed.
Mhm.
So she's sticking close to Stephanie, the baby, and Dreschen, and her posture changes. She stands up straight,
Mhm.
and the hood's probably not covering her face as much. The hood's back a little bit, so she's a little bit more visible.
Okay.
And she's walking with a lot more confidence than she has been the past couple days.
Okay. All right.
And she's got that really hard resting bitch face look about her.
Perfect.
And if anyone looks to her, she looks back at them.
Okay, great. I'm absolutely here for that. So everyone succeeds except for our sharpshooter. Okay, cool. So you guys are casually glancing around, right? This is a new place for most of you. You all notice the eyes upon you. You notice that every once in a while, like I said, there are no guards here. However, there are people that look intimidating. There are large, heavily armed people, usually in groups of 3 to 5. They appear to be adventurers, would be a very loose word to use. They look like brigands. They look like they swing swords and ask questions later. Corax, perhaps it is because of your shared history, but you notice that there are more than a few cut purses as well. There are because of your travels, I think, especially with was it Telbin? You kind of pointed out to like what to look for, and you can see the cat and mouse style traps where like there's a kid following you, and as you like look at that kid, you can see like diagonally behind him there's someone leaning on a building watching that kid a little too closely, waiting for him to pull something. So you're keenly aware that you are being tracked through the city. It doesn't seem to be the reconciliators or any of your normal worries. This just seems to be basically like it was back in Low Corso, right? This is a poor city, and they want the things that you have because you clearly have more than them, or you'd be here too. As you make your way through the city, Antares leads you to a to a 2-story building. It is an oddly shaped building. At first, it looks almost like a roadhouse, right? Where the bottom floor is relatively squared. The top floor sort of extends out a little bit, and it comes to a pitched roof, where on top of the door you see hanging by a single bent chain link is a old dilapidated wooden sign that reads "The Abbot." And on the sign looks like a picture of a temple, also fairly worn. This place, though larger than most, does sort of match that same description, like shattered. Like one of the windows is boarded up, shutters are kind of missing in certain places. But you see someone, one of these like large sword-wielding brigand type. He sort of stumbles out of this place. You see that the front of his shirt is kind of torn open. And he stumbles out yelling something incoherent. Not incoherent because you can't hear him from distance. It's incoherent because he's the slurs of a raving drunk lunatic. As he sort of flops into the mud, you can hear that there is noise coming from here as if it is some kind of lively-ish establishment. At least
when he
more
comes
so.
stumbling out, she would put her hand on the hilt of her sword.
Yeah.
Not draw it, but she'd.
He stumbles out like yelling something and like pointing in your direction, and then you see him like kind of like drunkenly spin and continue that same ramble as pointing towards the tavern, and the momentum just kind of he splats in the ground in the mud, and the door kind of swings closed. Antares, you know this to be the establishment that you're aware of.
She'll turn and glance back at everyone. All
This
right,
the
let's go.
place?
Yep. Let's go.
Oh,
gonna
joy.
She's just gonna walk
Look,
in.
what a great first impression.
It's been a while since I've been here. She walks in.
You walk in. You
Seydlitz, before he walks in, he just looks down at this drunk man who he's assumed is passed out by now. and
Yeah,
just
yeah.
shakes his
Half
head.
of his face is in mud, and every time he snores, you just see like bubbles kind of come out in the mud. Antares, are you still pushing a wheelbarrow?
No, I figured we would have left that outside the city.
Okay, cool.
Either to like properly abandon it,
Mhm.
and yeah, they wouldn't have come into the city. With
Just want to make sure you're not dragging a wheelbarrow into a bar.
Yeah, bring it inside, guys. There's no way to chain it up. So
Yeah, we can't chain up our horse.
yeah.
Cool. So I assume you are the first to enter the Abbot, and you do so, and you hear the continued like raucous noise. It's not very loud. This isn't like a large bar or tavern that would be in Corso or Samora, but it is a din much louder than the quiet town outside. You at first see that there are several small groups of there's three groups of these brigands of three on one table. There's another one of 5 people, and then another 2 are just sort of talking at the bar. You see that there are 2 hooded figures in the back of the bar seeming to be talking to each other, and you see that there is just a couple of what you would imagine to be townsfolk, and you see one person who is a little bit more finely dressed, not like finery, but like nicer than what you're wearing, and therefore nicer than anything you've seen in this town. And he is accompanied by a very large woman. She is like probably 6'5", and she looks like she might be able to take everyone else in the bar. She has some kind of what you would assume to be a weapon strapped to her back. You can't tell what it is because everything except for the hilt is wrapped in some kind of cloth. And she stands, arms crossed, behind this person. Your best guess, based on this and your travels, this is probably a merchant. This is probably their bodyguard. And this woman is heavily tattooed. But you make your way inside. Stephanie behind you, kind of bundled with the baby, kind of shushing and talking in a low murmur. Dreschen right beside her, and I would assume Seydlitz is bringing up the rear of this first group. What do you guys do when the 2 of you, 4 of you, enter the bar?
She's just gonna look around and see if she can see. I feel like there's a lot more people in here than she's used to seeing. So she's gonna see if she can find her, the owner of the abbot, the gentleman she knows called Hatharin.
Yeah, you don't see Hatharin. However, you do see his wife, Gisa. She is behind the bar. You can see that she is she's kind of like half bent down, where like she's clearly doing something behind the bar, but like doesn't dip her whole head behind the bar. She always has one eye kind of looking out at things as she like glances down and does something, and then continues and glances down again. Like she is refusing to stop looking to make sure no one causes a riot. But you do see her tucked behind the bar.
So she'll kind of go and she'll put a hand on Stephanie's arm to stop her, and it's not like a gentle hand. It's more like probably a more gruff hand than she would have intended. She stops her and goes, "Wait here," and she'll walk forward to the bar.
She does. She stops there. Dreschen stops with her. Are you implying that Seydlitz should also stay, or Seydlitz, do you follow her?
He's not. I'm not. Or he's not my dad. He could do it.
Even if she told her. Even if she told him to stay, he kind of would have ignored her and walked up to the bar and just kind of leaned against it and wait to see what happens.
Okay. Yeah, so I assume you move away from where the 2 like brigands are leaning on the bar to get her attention. And yeah, so Antares, what do you say as you lean over the bar?
I'll just walk over and be like, "Gisa."
She looks up to you. It's not often that people call her by name. She looks up to you. Oh. How can I help you?
Looking to rent a room or 2 if they're free. And she's speaking more in a hushed tone.
Yeah. She looks to you and says, "There are always rooms available for you." And you see her like reach. She reaches where she is underneath something, and she pulls out what looks like. How do I describe this? It looks like a small box with a bunch of like holes in it, right? A bunch of square holes in it. And you can see that in each one of them is a key, and each of the holes are numbered. And you hear sliding wood as she like moves her hand underneath the box, and 2 keys fall out into her hand, and she slides it back in and holds these 2 keys up to you that came from underneath this box.
Yeah. She'll take them. Thank you.
The usual.
Please. Okay. And she nods towards Seydlitz, and because we just came in, so most likely she noticed that we're the new people, and then she'll motion back to the 2 and the baby, just to elude that we're all together.
Any friend of yours?
Thank you. And she will go and turn. As she's turning, she'll get Seydlitz's eye, and then she'll turn and then gesture to Stephanie and Dreshen.
Yeah. You do so. Are you headed to the usual place?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So we're gonna have some fun with this, G, because you didn't expect this. So you walk over. On either side of the bar area, there are doors. One of the doors leads to the kitchen. One of the doors, presumably, somewhere else. And you open that other door. And for all intents and purposes, you have opened the door into a large supply closet. As Seydlitz kind of stands behind you with Stephanie and Dreshen. Seydlitz, you see her confidently open a door to what is a large supply closet. It is probably like 4 feet wide by a good 5 feet deep. It's a fairly large supply closet. And she strides into it. Do you say anything?
Seydlitz kind of under his breath, sitting there thinking, he's like, I have a bad feeling about this all of a sudden.
I like all these new bad feelings that keep recurring with Seydlitz. Oh, bad feeling, bad feeling.
He's
bad feeling.
he's a wary destroyer. He always has bad feelings
Yeah.
about things.
His constant state is having bad feelings.
Yeah.
And Terrence, you make your way through this cupboard, essentially, to the back wall where there are mops and brooms and things of that like. And you sort of push a pile of cleaning utensils out of the side, and there in this wall is a lone keyhole. No handle, nothing like that. And as luck would have it, one of the 2 keys fits perfectly.
Sure.
Yep. As you click that in and you give a yank, the whole wall sort of shifts to the side, and you see that it leads down to a set of stairs.
Yeah, she would have made sure that everyone could be inside the room
Yeah,
first.
yep.
So
It is
she's not gonna-
big enough to fit like a party of 5 or 6 in there.
Okay.
So yeah, you slide this to the side, and it leads down to a set of stairs. Now before you head down there that Korax and Mina were a decent bit behind you, and they are not in this room yet.
Okay. She'll look down the stairs and turn around like maybe we should wait for the other 2. She would have given them an address.
Yeah, they can see you, so they would have
Okay.
followed you, but like at that slower pace. So
Okay.
I'll say for serendipitous timing, as you kind of say that, you're able to like open the door to the supply closet again, and the 2 of them walk in. Korax, Mina, you are met with this same scene. However, you do not see Stephanie, Dreshen, Seydlitz, or Antares as you walk in to this place.
I think she would tell before they walk in. She would have told the 3 of them to wait here, and then she'll go back out into the main room.
Okay.
To wait for them.
Okay. You see Antares sliding out of a door and closing it behind her.
Seydlitz ignores the wait here, and did she open the thing?
Yes. The stairs has been opened. The wall has been opened.
He's going to step down.
Okay. Yeah. You step down. You are in a dark closet. You step down the stairs, and you are now in a dark stairwell. How far do you go?
No light.
Unless you make one.
I'm going to make one.
Okay. Do you have a torch
I
of
have
some kind?
Yeah, I believe I do. Let me check. I believe it's part of my adventurer's pack.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so you kind of
Yep.
strike a little torch and hold it above your head, and you can see that there is a staircase that leads down, probably about 8 feet, and then switchbacks to another, like it hits a landing and then kind of rotates and goes down further. At the landing, there is a sconce, like a hook for where you can place either a lantern or a torch.
I'm gonna go around and peek around the other side of the stairs.
Yep, the stairs lead down to another door, a wooden door with banded iron across it, and you can see glinting off of that is a polished keyhole.
All right, he's gonna place the torch in the sconce just to leave it there, and he's gonna walk back up.
Okay, yeah, you walk back in the
Since he
closet.
doesn't have a key.
Yeah, You walk back up to the cupboard, and Teres, you slide out of the door a second earlier than that. Korax, Mina, you guys kind of look around again. You see all those brigands. You see this large woman. You see the merchant. You see two people huddled in the corner. A woman kind of bent over behind the bar, and then you see Antares slide out of a door and close it behind her. What are the three of you doing?
She will nod to them.
Before we enter,
Mm-hmm.
there's the drunk that's lying outside.
He is drunk and lying outside.
I would assume that a drunk lying outside would probably grab the attention of the children that are out there to pick some pockets.
Perhaps they could.
I would imagine that as we're walking towards him, a couple of the kids are making their way towards, and as we get just to him, Korax just shoos the kids away, knowing what they're there for.
Mm-hmm.
He leans over and sort of rolls this gentleman onto his side, so he doesn't sort of kill himself while lying there.
Right. Fair.
And as he rolls him onto his side, Korax sort of half covers him a bit with his cloak, and he's going to feel in his pockets to see if there's a coin purse just
There it is.
to grab at the same time without anyone noticing, but just
Mhm.
making sure this gentleman survives, Mike.
No, I understand. Yeah, I get your motives. There's a reason why you identified the thieves and no one else did.
Yep.
Go ahead and roll me a difficulty. Ooh. So you're going to succeed at what you're trying to do. Roll me a difficulty 3 speed. This is to see if anyone notices.
Difficulty 3 speed. I mean, does it really matter if anyone sees?
You don't know.
Full of brigands and thieves.
Yeah, so you
Success.
roll over, and it is convincingly, even to Mina, that you are just looking out for this guy's best interests. In fact, the flap of the cloak was just merely a flare of you throwing your arms up to kind of flip this guy over. It is a barely perceptible jingle as you heft his coins into your purse. And as soon as I remember what the hell the coins are in this game, I will let you know.
Moons and stars.
Moons and stars and something else, but I forget which one's like a
Pennies.
gold.
pennies.
Yeah, so
Gold
you
moons.
gain an amount of money that I will figure out in a second here.
Yeah, he looks to Mina as he does and says, "You can't leave someone who's drunk and passed out on their back. They're just gonna potentially kill themselves." And he rolls this guy over, pulls his pocket, and then stands up, looks back at the kids that were sort of standing around, and enters the bar.
Okay.
with Mina.
You have 8 moons and a handful of pennies. So that's probably like 10 or 15 pennies. And then you enter the bar. As you do, you see Antares slipping out of that door.
Mina looks around in the bar trying to find Dreshen and Stephanie and Aurora, and only seeing Antares looks a bit concerned.
She just motions.
Okay. She motions towards you. You all see her kind of wave you guys towards this door. Do you follow?
Does it look like anyone else is paying particular attention to them in the bar?
Roll me an intelligence difficulty 3. You can find out. No. No one seems to be paying you any attention. In fact, the only glance you've seen in your direction is from one of the 2 people in hoods in the back of the room, but it was like quickly like they like saw someone come in and then looked back down.
So Mina will just, not seeing anyone paying attention to them, will just head over to Antares.
Okay. You head over. Korax, are you following as well?
Korax is going to make potential detours, not really much. He's going to walk as he sees the merchant. He's going to stop, tilt his head, looking at this person, tip an imaginary hat, and then walk to the bar. And as he gets to the bar. You just said there was a bar, right?
There was a bar. Yep.
Bar. Goes up to the bar and says, "You have a drunk passed out outside. Put them on their side. The kids are gonna rob him blind."
Before you even get the full sentence out, you say you have a drunk passed out outside. You hear a very heavy sigh, and the woman's voice comes back, "When don't we?" And she continues, like, moving things around, and she glances up and sees you, and, like, assesses that you're not asking for anything, and then moves back down to pushing boxes around underneath the bar. Do you need anything, dear?
No. This looks like a fine establishment. You mean you have merchants in here? Generally, they run straight through, right?
Generally. Clink, clink.
Today's a good
clink.
day for you. And he just starts to walk off.
It's a great... What? Okay. And you hear, like, that rattle off behind you. You turn and you see that Mina has made his way to Antares, whose hand is, I assume, still on the doorknob.
Yeah, she's looking pointedly at Korax, like, hurry the fuck up.
Yeah. You catch that mom look.
As he gets into the room, realizing that he's basically being told off without being told off.
Yeah.
He looks at them and goes, "Lock your rooms tonight. There's going to be trouble." That's a fine-looking merchant.
Oh, as you get to the group together?
As he gets into the group, like, into the room.
Okay.
As he pushes past Antares.
As you say that, trying to get into the room, you realize that you've just walked into a broom closet. A large supply closet full of cleaning supplies. Mina, you are there as well. It looks like Antares has slipped out of and led you back into what is clearly a supply closet. However, you do see that Stephanie and Dreschen are there, and beyond them, you see a what I can only assume is an annoyed, but realistically his normal face, Seydlitz, is probably standing on the stairs. You see that there's a torch flickering down a set of stairs behind him.
Yeah, she will close the pantry door behind her and then turn sideways to shuffle past them, and to Korax, she's like, "You talk too much," and she will go and head down the stairs.
Okay.
Find things out without talking, because he's walking behind.
As he's just hanging out.
Talk too much, yet we're in a bar that seemed to have a secret basement.
Who doesn't have a secret basement these days?
Yeah, we were just... She kind of looks back. It's like, we were just in a secret basement.
That's what I do. It's my shtick.
That is fair enough. What? It seems every place has a secret... Ugh, I don't have a secret basement. Where's my secret basement at home?
Build one. You head down the stairs.
She'll
Antares
approach the door with the key.
Yeah. And you open that key. So you open that door with the second key, and you are led to what would only be described as lavish, a lavish room. This room is sort of like hostel setting, where it is like multiple beds all in one room, and you can see that there is again, fairly lavish, especially for where you are. There is a stained glass door, a larger than normal stained glass door, probably like a good 8 feet wide. And you can tell that it's on rails, it slides. That leads, and you can see that the entire glass door is like foggy. So you have a room that's probably like 6 beds in this room, or 8 beds in this room. All look fairly plush, all well maintained. There's a large ovular carpet in the capit. There's a large capit in the middle of the room there, and like I said, the big stained glass door all the way in the back.
Yeah, so she'll just come in casually and light the candles and stuff like that are there, and put her bag down, and kind of turn to it. All right. We should be safe here for however, a couple days at least, if we need to rest.
It is quite warm in this room. Those of you who are new here.
Spa episode. I'm so excited.
Other people come in here? This doesn't look... I mean, apart from your secret magic door. Is this safe?
We won't be bothered. Yes, it's safe.
How did you know about this place?
Yeah, G.
I second that question.
Don't ask too many questions.
I'm asking too many questions.
How do you learn if you don't ask questions?
Not everything needs to be spelled out for you guys. And she'll take off her cloak and put it down. Some things you're just better off not knowing. And she'll go and she's going to go to Stephanie and help her.
Okay. Not dodgy at all.
To know.
So you begin to help Stephanie pick out a bed, load up the baby, that kind of thing. Korax, Mina, Seydlitz, this is the nicest accommodation you guys have stayed in quite some time. What are you guys doing?
Seydlitz, I guess, setting his bag down, he's just looking through his stuff. He's probably looking at his equipment, thinking about how he may need to get it repaired.
Okay. Mina, Korax.
Are there chairs or stools in the room?
Sure, yeah. There's pretty much everything you'd need.
Mina will just grab a stool, pull it to the back of the door and just put it there and then just sit in it.
Like the door you just came in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just behind it, not stopping it from opening.
Yeah, but you're sitting against the door, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay. And Korax, what about you?
Korax is going to try and get a bed in the corner. Ideally facing like as far away from the door as possible.
Okay. So yeah,
this is underground, isn't it?
It is underground. It is a rectangular room. There are 4 corners. 2 of them are closest to the door where Mina is. The other 2 are closest to the sliding stained glass door.
Door on either end. Those are both unsafe.
I mean, you don't know what's on the other side of the glass door, so it could be perfectly safe.
Korax stops as he's looking at the 4 corners, and he looks to Antares. When people come running in here to take all our stuff, which door are they coming through?
She kind of rolls her eyes a little bit and she'll point towards the main door that they came in.
Then he'll go and set up next to the spa door.
Okay. The closer you get to that door, the hotter it gets. It's not like oppressively hot, but it is noticeably a couple degrees warmer down there. You easily able to sling off your pack, kind of claim your space. You see that Dreshen is kind of looking to see where Stephanie is picking, and then he picks the bunk next to her. Seydlitz, you have your pack out. You're kind of going through your things. Mina has taken up a guard position, kind of back to the door, and the room is fairly quiet as you guys all kind of cautiously unpack your belongings and sort of settle in to this strange accommodations. A few minutes pass as you guys are able to go through your collected belongings and thoughts. What's the plan here? You've made it to Old Nemoro. Now what?
So, Antares, what's behind the glass door, since you seem to know so much?
It's just she stands up and she's going to walk to Stephanie, and I'm assuming she's got the baby, and I don't know if the baby's sleeping or whatever, but she's just going to go, come with me.
Oh, of course she comes with you. The baby is like bundled in like this weird arrangement of like whatever clothes she has. It sort of makes like a bassinet almost.
Yeah,
and she places the baby on the bed.
Yeah, and she kind of like kind of scratches her head, and then she kind of awkwardly offers her a hand to help her up.
Yeah, she'll take your hand. She'll stand with you, and she follows you towards the glass door, I assume.
Yeah, and then she's gonna slide open the door.
Whoever's the closest to the glass door, it looks like Korax, I would guess. The glass door sort of rattles and slides on rails, and now it is oppressively hot. The heat source is coming from that glass door. And right when the door opens, you can see why it was so wide. There's a large divider right when the door opens, and it looks like it splits into 2 rooms almost, one to the left and one to the right. And it is like a steam kind of rolls out into the room, and it is quite hot. The room is lit. You see this weird blue kind of glow emanating from both sides of the room. Not enough to illuminate so you can see into it, but enough that you can see that there is some kind of casting of light.
So I wouldn't bring us somewhere where we would be in danger. So we're safe here. I promise you that. and it's a place where we can sleep and she motions and we can wash up.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and she'll help Stephanie out with.
Yeah, you head towards the left, and you guys hear the shuffling of articles, and eventually you hear the sound of water. And still, steam
boy,
kind of rolls out.
Figured out what that is. Guys, she's brought us to a bathhouse.
You're welcome.
Yeah, hello.
You guys climb through a sewer and haven't showered in a week.
Yeah, because no one
Kind of-
specified that we showered or bathed in Laredo.
It
So
rained last night. I'm as clean as I'm going to get.
It rained acid.
Acid rain.
Burns
How
off
much
all
more
the dirt.
cleaner do you get than acid rain?
yeah, chemical
That's
kills
true.
are a
It
thing.
will, you
enough.
know what? It will clean you right down to the bone.
Yeah.
So,
Jesus.
the door is still open, and that heat is just kind of filtering into the room. So, Korax, the longer you sit there with the door open, it is hot.
Korax slides the
slaves.
door closed.
Yeah.
And he looks up at the other two and says, "She says we're safe here. Have you seen the people in this town?"
Yeah,
I've-
we saw him.
I've been
You
here
know what those
before,
people
and
are?
we've never stopped.
You don't stop here unless you have to. When I said when we walked in to this door, you want to lock your doors, that merchant's getting robbed tonight. That big lady's not going to stop a whole town of thieves.
I think we have worse problems. I think the final clave know we're here already.
Probably, but does she know all the people that are here? Are these her people? Is this why she's secretive?
Mina looks at Seydlitz and says, Seydlitz is going to say I'm paranoid, but I think Antares is with the final clave.
You think she's leading us somewhere?
I just want to interrupt real
Yeah.
quick, because I think I forgot to say something. And I don't want to pull a G and forget to tell you the whole thing, the whole game. When you guys were looking around earlier, ADD brain, I can't remember if I said this, there are posters on the walls of the wall, like the city wall, and every once in a while you see one or two tacked on the side of a building. They're missing persons posters. They look like they're homemade. Most of them don't include any kind of charcoal picture. A lot of them include like just a list of descriptives.
Were they of adults?
Um,
The pictures, the ones that did have pictures.
Some. From what you
Doesn't
can,
make
you know what? Because you had the highest roll, I'll say what you can gather is it looks like it ranges in ages, but no one is any older than like Seydlitz.
I mean, that's the full age range. Like, that's from young kids to the oldest old.
To the elderly, yeah.
Yeah.
Geriatrics.
Okay, but
Those
it's
are
not
the
like they're
easiest
old
ones to
kids.
banish.
Yeah, it
Okay.
seems like there was young children, there was teenagers, and there was like adults.
I mean, Mina, she could be with the final clave.
I mean,
Who
think
knows if
about
they're
it.
here?
The Lumriel's people had captured her. The Lumriel took out the final clave. She knew a lot about nimbuses, nimbi, the things on our heads, and gods. And
And the adherents.
she took us straight to this place, which is
To be fair, Korax, I don't trust the adherents either.
You don't have to trust them, but not many people know exactly who they are. How to spot one. She spotted that we were, well, at least I was an adherent before we'd ever mentioned the word.
and Galvin only heard about the final clave's resurgence after she showed up and we revealed ourselves. And I had that dream last night.
What, another one?
Yeah.
With
I think
your poorly dressed friend upstairs?
no, he didn't show up this time. There was just some two-headed dogs and super shady people. But they were I think they were tracking us.
How big was the dog?
It was big enough to basically tear you apart with each of its heads.
But like
Mina, you
dog-sized or-
may have not been dreaming. While we were here, I found footprints, dog prints, wolf prints, whatever, and people prints while we were traveling.
Yeah, I think that it's safe to say they know we're here. Then I think maybe Enteras has ratted us out.
She only
Might be
promised not to turn us into the to Nalumbriel. She didn't promise not turning us into anyone else.
All right. Well, if you need an escape plan, familiarize with the surroundings. Who wants to go out in the town and just walk around?
Matt,
I'll go up if need be.
if you go up, go together. Don't go alone. And
You're
watch
not
the
coming?
kids. The kids are the worst. Carry a
Don't
stick,
have any cash on me.
whack them. They don't need to take cash. They'll take your sword. They'll take your bow. They'll take your arrows out of your quiver. And if they knock you out, they'll take your shoes.
But shall we go up and have a look around then, Seydlitz?
Yeah, why not?
Corex, get your apple peeling knife ready, just in case.
The bar seemed the safest to me. I
If you want to stay here,
I
then
go
stay
anywhere,
here.
I'll
I just
stay
want to
there
go
for now.
around it. I just want to take a look.
just stay
I'll come
together.
with you.
All right. See if the barmaid has like a little map of the town that we can look at.
So the three of you head back to the bar. Is that what I'm getting? Corex, are you coming to the bar side as well, or are you staying down here?
Corax will go up. Oh, would he go up to the bar? Such a bad idea. Yeah, Corax will go to the bar.
Okay. So we will leave Antares and Sephany bathing and Dreshin confusedly just being old, and he just sort of sits down on the bed and waits because he doesn't do much.
Aw.
Yeah,
No. He's got to go clean himself up. Or so
Yeah,
sits
he
like
once
an old
once
man in the dark.
once everyone. Well,
Seydlitz, before he walks
the
out,
room
he
is
points
lit.
at Dresden and just kind of points his like, "Go take care of yourself. You stink."
I was planning on it. Thank you.
Good.
And you see him getting up and walking towards the glass door as you guys head back up the stairs. Do you, Corax, I'll ask you because you seem to be the most cautious person here. You realize you walked up the stairs, you slide the wall back into a cupboard again. How do you leave the cupboard?
Corax would. Oh. Corax would fully close it.
No, I mean,
Fully
how
close.
do you exit the cupboard? Are you like sliding out like slinkily? Are you like sneaking out of this thing? Or are you just kind of like, I'm in a cupboard, and you just head out?
Corax would like pop the cupboard open and just peer his
Okay.
head out.
So you
see
are
if anyone's
attempting
looking.
to be stealthy about it. Roll me a speed. Difficulty 3.
Difficulty 3. Success.
Okay. Yeah, you slide out and you usher your friends out as well. The door closes behind you barely with a click. And you are in this tavern. What are you three doing?
Seydlitz walks over to the bar and just gives it a little knock.
Just a second. You hear coming from the still crouched over woman. She pushes something in. You hear it like hit the back of the bar towards your legs, and she stands. Good morning. What can I get for you?
We're just traveling, so we'd like to know a bit about the town.
What would you like to know?
Just general knowledge, layout, Which place is what?
This is the Abbot. If you head down the road to the east, there's a market. If you keep going, there's another gate, and you head to Megara. Are you staying in Nemoro?
As much as I hate to, I don't know what our friend, who seems to know you quite well, has in mind. She won't tell us much.
Oh, most people just sort of pass through.
We know that. We were playing on it too.
Oh. Well, any friend of Antares? Did you need a drink, sir?
I'm good. Though, how do you know Antares, if I might be so rude to ask?
You might not. Any other questions?
No, that's fine.
Drink? No?
No, thank you.
All right. And she kind of puts a bottle down. All right. Did you see her like heft up a bottle of empty bottles that like clinks, and she starts to walk towards the opposite door, the one on the other side of the bar. Korax and Mina, what are you doing?
Mina will walk towards the merchant and just kind of say, excuse me, are you traveling with a caravan?
You see this guy. He's tanned. He's like darker skin, more olive tone, and tanned, immediately giving away the fact that he is not from the Nightlands. Neither is this behemoth woman beside him. She's also heavily tanned. He sort of looks up from you, and you can see that he has like a bunch, absolutely merchant. He has a bunch of like paperwork on the table, and as soon as he looks up from you, he like lifts a hand, and you see it rolls up. Yes, I am. What is it to you?
I was just wondering of the caravan company. We were supposed to meet some friends along the way.
You were wondering about my caravan company?
Well, if it's yours, I guess, yeah.
We're heading to Corso, and I was not picking up any drivers or passengers.
Oh no, then it's not you. Sorry to interrupt.
I did pass another caravan that was packing up in Samora, if that is any help to you. I didn't quite catch the name, but there was a surly woman in charge of the guard.
That describes a lot of people. It could be them.
It does describe a lot of people, you know? You guys do meet a lot of surly people.
You didn't catch the name?
It was something exotic. And he kind of like reaches up and like pats this woman like on the arm, and you just see her adjust away from him and just sort of look down, and then look back up to the room.
Mina will look to the guard. Don't suppose you caught their name?
She, the caravan driver is a he. She looks to you as Mike opens his notes to look up the name that he wrote down. She looks down to you, and she towers over you guys. But she looks down to you and says, Jund. And then leans back and looks out.
Oh, and where were they heading?
She looks to the merchant again. The merchant kind of like nods to her. South. And then she looks back up.
Thank you. Next drinks on the old man at the bar.
Seydlitz hears that and says, "No, it isn't."
Oh, It appears as though there's a miscommunication. No worries, I'm not drinking. He kind of like unrolls the paperwork again. You see him like smooth it out with an elbow and begin to write things down. You can see that it is a long list of inventory. And he looks back up to you and says, "Oh, I'm sorry. Was there anything else that was rude?"
No, just hope you have a prosperous time in Corso. And Mina will leave the table.
Thank you, young man. Kind. He was a nice man. You were aggressive. And Korax, what are you doing?
Korax is standing at the bar waiting for Mina and Seydlitz to leave, in effect.
Okay.
And he's waiting for the bar lady to return after she's taken all those bottles away, and for Mina and Seydlitz to move away from the bar.
Okay. Yeah. The woman, Gisa, as you don't know her name, but she opens the door to what you can only assume to be a kitchen or another magical cupboard. You don't know. And she disappears with the box of clanking bottles. I assume that Mina joins Seydlitz at the bar with Korax. What are you two talking about, Mina, as you kind of head over that way?
So where do you want to go, Mina? You want to check out this market, or do you want to try just wander, see if there's anything else?
I mean, I think the person I contacted might have been coming this way, so chances are they might be at the market. Might be worth wandering there to see if they're there.
See if we can meet them.
Yeah.
Still haven't heard a word from my brother-in-law. Figures.
I guess he might have been busy.
Could be.
It's a bit disappointing. I'd like to know about the family.
We're not too far away. We'll be there in a few days, I guess.
Let's
Providing
hope.
we leave this place alive.
Probably leave any place alive.
True words.
So the two of you are headed where in the city?
The market, I think
Okay.
she said, was
To the east.
to the east.
Yep. So yeah, you guys, the two of you, sort of part ways from Korax, who's at the bar, and you head out towards the marketplace, leaving Korax alone in this this tavern. Korax, what are you doing that's not shady?
It's never shady, Mike.
Okay.
Korax is waiting for the bar lady to return. As she does, he looks to her and says, "The merchant, what is he drinking? Whatever it is, can I have a bottle of it?"
Oh, he isn't.
Not a bottle, something small that I can afford.
He isn't drinking.
Nothing at all.
No, he hasn't had a drop.
Can I get just a water then for myself?
Sure. Did you want a bottle?
Sure. Whatever's safest.
She walks back into the kitchen and comes back with what you can see is one of the bottles she just left with, and it is now full of water. And she kind of places it down, looks at you, reaches behind her, and grabs a clay cup and sort of flips it over and slides them both towards you.
He nods. Thank you very much. Takes the two, and he walks over to the table with the merchant. He stands there, places the two onto the table, lifts up his cloak and pulls out his knife and places it on the table in front of the big surly woman, and says, "I don't carry weapons. You can take that if you need to. May I sit?" He looks to the caravan driver.
She looks to you, and you see her like almost intimidatingly, like just she kind of throws one shoulder to adjust the large strap carrying whatever the hell this thing is on her back. And then she kind of rolls it to adjust and then sort of leans back, not caring about your tiny little knife. The merchant looks up and he says, "Oh, another. I guess so. I don't own the chair."
Seem to own the table.
"Well, I'm taking up most of its space, but what can I do for you?"
You're a merchant. You trade in goods. I like to trade in knowledge. Just a few questions.
Are you trying to buy my goods with information? Is it what you're saying?
Not necessarily. I'm just trying to learn information by giving you information if you require it.
Oh. Okay. I don't think that I rightfully do, but you're here, so what can I help you with, young man?
You traveling north or south?
South.
Ah, that's going to take you through Laredo.
It is, yes.
The roads are right. You shouldn't have too many problems, but Laredo's had some issues.
Oh.
Just making you aware. There's been some trouble, some slavers, the usual. Nothing overly problematic, but you may see some guards heading up the road.
Well, it's fairly typical here in the Nightlands. The Castmanders are, doing their...
The best
and he
for the
like
queen.
he like glances at the woman again. Their work, I guess.
They do what they told.
If it matters at all, the road north is fine.
That was effectively my questionnaire. I wanted to understand, what's it like going from here to further north?
It was bumpy. Although I had a carriage, so it wasn't... I didn't feel most of it. And the pachyderm, it took the brunt of it. So it was fine. On foot, it should be fairly fine as well. I don't think you really notice the bumps if you're on foot as much.
Well,
I don't want to assume you don't have a
realistically
carriage.
more. And he glances around the bar. It's more the people that could be on the road to potentially cause problems to unwary travelers.
Right.
That's more my concern.
I don't share that concern with you. And he reaches up and again, places an arm on her. And again, she looks down and adjusts so that he's no longer touching her. I have hired this person, whom I still don't know how to say her name. But I've hired her, and she takes care of all that trouble for me. So if I could make any piece of advice to you, it would be to hire protection for yourself.
He looks up at this big lady. Don't suppose you're looking for a better job? Maybe going back home rather than into the shithole that is Corso?
She looks down to him, back to you. What's it pay?
Not much. The pay's pretty meager.
Then no.
He looks back to the merchant. Seems I don't have enough money to pay for great protection.
It would seem
So that's why I
not.
just looked for information.
Yes. Well, I do give it to you for trying. I am right here. It was pretty brazen of you. The road north was simple. There was not many people on the road. No brigands to my knowledge, but I had the curtains closed. So I'm more concerned with the road south of here, which is why I've hired this fine warrior. From here to Zamora, it's usually pretty safe.
He leans quite close in and says, "You might want to worry about the brigands where you are."
Oh, that is her job as well.
You may want to inform her that she may have a problem. Yeah.
I disagree. But I will take that under advisement.
Well, you've provided me what I needed to know about where we're going.
Great. I'm glad you learned more. And if you
You
ever come into a handsome fortune, perhaps we can do business.
Do you perhaps have books in your collection of tradable items? Anything with magical information about what those fancy wizards in the fancy towers learned all those years ago?
I do not, because I am not a criminal.
Well, you don't have to be a criminal to know about the cool things that people did in the past.
Well, it does sort of make it more easy to be misidentified as a criminal. I peddle
true.
in goods, not in information.
I've noticed.
Large
You
quantities.
close your curtains and don't know the information.
I don't need to. I know the road. It goes from Samora to Corso, and that's where my goods go.
Now, why are you traveling with them? Why didn't you just send someone?
Well, I own them.
I suppose they're going to steal all your goods.
They could. If you want a job done right, you do it yourself.
No. It's the group I travel with generally just cause me more trouble than they're worth.
That's
Well, I
why I
thank you for your
have
time.
one single companion.
Yeah. I could
And
do with
she
getting rid of a
doesn't
few.
speak much. And he pats her on the arm again, and again she moves out of the way.
He looks back up at her. I assume that causes you a lot less trouble than I've got to deal with.
It does. It does. We're gonna transition back to the room downstairs. This is post hot springs. Dreshen is still in his side, but it is just Antares, the baby, and Sephany. What are you guys talking about?
I think after they cleaned up and everything like that, had a nice soak in some really hot, which I'm assuming is hot spring water.
It is.
Yeah, okay. So very nice and hot. She's actually going to go over to a chest that's against one of the walls, and she's going to open it up, and there's some clothing in there.
Mm-hmm.
And she's going to give Sephany some clean clothes.
Okay. Yeah, she takes them, and she like glances back to the door, the glass door, and you see her begin to put on these nicer, cleaner clothes. She looks at you and she says, "This was very kind of you. We only just met for you to bring us here to this diamond in the rough. It's very kind of you."
Well, I haven't been here in a very long time, but it's a place where I've been before to get away and relax.
It seems you know it quite well.
And she kind of thinks for a moment. Yeah, I guess I've had to get away a lot more than I thought, now that I think about it. But yeah, and she kind of look at her and then kind of look away, and change into her own clothes.
Mm-hmm.
And
roll me a difficulty 3 intelligence perception kind of thing.
which I have no skills for. Difficulty 3.
Actually, you know what? I will give you a bonus because of familiarity.
Okay. So is that an asset, sorry, or
Yes, yeah, an asset. Sorry.
one asset? Success.
Okay. As you are rummaging through this chest and pulling out certain clothes, although you don't need it right this moment, this chest has a false bottom. And as you begin to move some of the clothes around to find the ones you want to give and the ones you want to wear, you notice that the false bottom isn't sitting properly.
Okay. As she's rummaging through shit, that will actually kind of make her stop for a moment. And she kind of freezes, and she's just staring at it. And then she's going to open it and look inside.
You look inside, and you've used this false bottom before. It's a great place to hide goods or things you want to come back for later. Not many people know about it, but there is nothing in there except for a folded up piece of paper, folded like envelope style, and it is sealed with a purple wax. And the purple wax stamp on there bears the symbol of the Empress of the Nightlands.
She just kind of looks at it, and that's not something that was there before she looked in here. Like,
It was a long time ago. It wasn't here a long time ago.
okay. Ugh.
And it is the only thing in there right now.
Okay. Yeah, so she'll be like a little slightly more subtle about it, like when because she's taking the clothes out, she sees a thing, so she'll just like as she's leaning in, she'll lift up and look, like she's not taking the false bottom out and moving it. So she's looking, and then she kind of freezes and looks for a moment, and then replaces the lid, and then or the bottom, and closes it and returns to Stephanie with the clothing.
Did you take the letter?
She is going to take it, but not yet.
Okay, cool. Okay, yeah, so you put that back down, adjust all the clothing, and then you are getting dressed as well. Clothing scene happens, clothing montage. So like she looks over to you. It's kind of an awkward silence, right? Like she doesn't know you. But she's like thankful, and she's like kind of getting dressed, and like she kind of glances over at you, kind of adjusts clothing, looks at you again, adjusts the baby, and she seems like she's not sure what else to say, because she doesn't know how much to tell you or what you already know, kind of.
And she looks a little awkward too. Like me personally, she's like she's kind of banking on like that familiarity that women have with each other. But yeah, she definitely feels awkward as well. Like she'll glance and then look away, keep glancing and looking away, and then as she's making up her own bed, probably has like the nicest blankets on it out of all of them. I'm sorry for what I said earlier, back in Laredo. And it's like this really weird kind of awkward tone.
What did you say?
I made that comment about Mina being the father of your baby, and I think I made you very uncomfortable, and I apologize for that.
Oh, there's no need. He isn't. He's just a boy. He showed up with Korax, the other boy, and Seydlitz, and there was another woman with them as well. They responded to Dreshen's call for aid when I was delivering the baby. There were strange circumstances in Corso, and I think people were trying to kill me. And they stopped that from happening.
You seem unsure, like you...
Well...
And she's going to sit on the bed and try and... She just kind of puts her hands in her lap.
There were people aggressively pursuing me. And I'm not sure what their intention was once they got me.
Was it the dragons people?
No. It wasn't. I don't entirely know who they were. I don't even know how they knew who I was. I'm fairly plain.
And these two boys plus Seydlitz showed up and helped you?
Yes, and a very nice young woman helped me deliver the baby. I don't know what happened to her. I think she's still in Corso.
And just to clarify from my own memory, all this talk about the divine conversations that we've had that openly in front of her, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you're trying to go to Samora, right?
I don't really have anywhere else to go. I have family there. I figured that would be this. I obviously couldn't stay in Corso, so I figured that would be the next safest bet, was getting out of the Nightlands. Mostly for Arua, and she kind of puts her hand down on the makeshift bassinet.
Mina mentioned something about being thankful to Arua.
Mina is thankful to Arua.
Yeah, when we were having lunch that last night or last evening in Laredo, he mentioned it.
Oh, well, that's very nice of him. I'm not entirely sure why. He's very protective of us. He fought back whoever was trying to assail us in the keep in Corso, as did Seydlitz. And he's been very watchful ever since.
And they kind of alluded when we were talking with that other gentleman, that Galvin guy, and her tone kind of hardens when she says his name. But there was something special about the baby.
I believe she is divine. And the men we travel with are redeemers of divinity. They are the redeemers of the Afterworld.
All of them?
Well, Korax, Mina, and Seydlitz.
Interesting. And she just stands up and she kind of walks over, and she just kind of looks down at the baby sleeping there.
Yeah, you you know what? Let's do a corruption bar. Why not? You walked into it. As you sort of look down over the baby, contemplatively, taking in everything that was just told to you, you see the baby kind of like toss and turn, and then slowly stir awake. And the baby's eyes sort of open in that like sleepish kind of way. And for a second, you could have sworn that the eyes glowed this kind of green. That green quickly fades. Perhaps it was something in your eye, perhaps the mist, perhaps the heat kind of got to your head. However, that green glow in the eye is very quickly replaced by a bright green sigil that floats above this baby's head. And as you sort of see this sigil appear, it almost flows like water. Like over the bassinet, over the bed, and down the sides of it. And you see this light kind of flowing like this, and you realize that it is not, in fact, water. It's behaving in that sort of manner, but as you kind of watch, the light slowly hits the ground and it crawls across and kind of up. And you can see what you thought were perhaps waves or currents are actually vines. This green light is forming vines that are crawling across the floor, and you see them like sprout leaves and buds, and the buds kind of unfurl into flowers. And then as you kind of like blink in recognition of what you're seeing, the green light sort of fades, but the sigil above the head is still there. And you see the baby is just staring up at you.
And does Stephanie react like she saw it too?
Nope. She just looks to you, sees the baby kind of like awaken and stare up at you, and she sort of places a hand on your hand.
Sorry, Stephanie touches my hand?
Yep, she places a hand on your hand. Yep.
Okay.
Like a, oh.
Did you see that?
I'm sorry?
And she's gonna like reach down almost like to touch the baby, like on the cheek or whatever, but she'll pull back.
Yeah, you feel this like warmth as you put it down, not like the heat, but like you feel like a warmth, like almost like a softening, like everything got a little bit lighter as you kind of reach down there, and then as you kind of pull away, everything kind of normalizes.
Yeah, if that's how you describe what she feels, she'll pull back.
Yeah.
And she stammers like she's kind of like shocked.
Mm-hmm. Are you okay, dear?
I've never she kind of like brushes her hair back, and I've never seen anything like that.
They are little miracles.
And she's gonna sit on the other side of the baby on her bed.
Yeah, so you sort of sit down there. Stephanie continues to like move things around and like prepare. Like you can tell that she had a bed at the inn, but like not like this, right? This is very comfortable, and she doesn't seem to be used to that kind of thing. And she's making sure that the child is as comfortable as possible. And as you kind of sit there close to the child, that sort of lightness eventually kind of washes over you. The longer you sit there, you can like feel it like on your leg and it kind of just like moves across you as you feel like not quite like uplifted, but like as if you were carrying something and you put it down and you have that like, oh, everything's slightly better right this second.
That lactic acid release.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God.
And there is a tranquil silence that kind of washes over the room, that is absolutely ruined by the sound of the sliding glass and as Dreschen walks out of the other side of the hot springs. And we cut over to Mina and Seydlitz, who are walking through this moist, muddy town towards the east, towards a market. The houses and buildings sort of break, and you see the center of Old Nemoro. What would have been a large market is now mostly just a large place where there aren't buildings. The road continues straight through. You can see that go on. In the distance, you see the crenulations of another portcullis. What you assume to be heading to what the heck's it called? Megasaurus. The other town, Merrigan. But you see that there are 4, 5, 6 stalls that are in this central courtyard. What made for the marketplace. You can see that spidering off of this main road here at the marketplace are 4 additional roads, smaller, slightly more maintained, perhaps just from lack of use. They seem to spider off in the directions of the large manor houses, as if they had their own like private road. But yeah, you see that there are, like I said, like six merchant carts, and only 2 of them are actually manned by anyone. The other 3, one of them is the other 3. One of them is like a cart on wheels. That you see that one of the spokes is sort of broken and has a hole, not a hole, but like a crack in with a wheel, and it is just there, kind of sinking in the mud a little bit. The other 2 are just not manned. You see that the canvas over the top of them is sort of tattered and there's holes in it. And you see that the other 2 are just sort of standing there, like lackadaisically leaning on their shelf.
Hey Mina, look at that. See, I wonder if we can score ourselves a cart today. See, maybe we get Korax over here and negotiate for us.
Unless it's a book on wheels, I don't think Korax will be interested.
That could be nice, though. I wonder what those 2 are just waiting there for.
I think they're just stalls selling wares. We should see if they've seen.
Maybe
the.
Think they're one of the people that we sent out word for.
Could be. We can at least ask them if they've seen them come through town yet.
Why not? You want to lead? Let's be honest. I'm not good with. I'm not good with people either.
Then this is going to be interesting.
We're screwed.
Mina will head over. Does he recognize either of the merchants?
You do not. These merchants look like they are from Nemoro. Your best guess. They don't look like the traveling kind. Mina, you've been part of traveling, not quite like traveling sales, but like your father had a tailoring, like a traveling tailoring. This courtyard is set up to house both local merchants and like swarms of caravans. which would make sense as this is the most like northern town in the Nightlands. So any trade from Samora would come through here before either going to Corso or Megaran or Merrigan. And same thing from Merrigan to Corso and Corso to Merrigan. They would come through here. Your best estimate is back in the day, caravans would come, open up shop here for a day or two, head on to the main city. It looks like that has fallen out of times, judging by the rest of the place. No one seems to be stopping here, and everyone seems to be concerned or shocked that you are. These look like what's left of the local salesman, hoping for, a single fish in a dry pond, basically. None of them look familiar to you, and as you approach one of them, the wares they're selling, they don't look very good.
Yeah, and Mina will approach and look at their wares, and maybe pick something up to appraise it.
Yeah, you see that the one you approach doesn't even like it is a woman. She's probably like in her upper 20s. She has her hand on her head, and she doesn't even look up to see you. She just like acknowledges that you're here and continues with her hand here, knowing that you're not gonna buy anything, because no one does. You see that the wares she has is all like trinkets and baubles, like it's all accessories. You could repurpose any of these things into things you could put inside of a shirt or that kind of thing to add like some flair to it. But this looks kind of chintzy. It's not quite like costume jewelry, but it does look like tarnished jewelry. Like there are like metals here that are tarnished, that are not polished. You see that there is like a ring, but it's missing the setting stone. It's just the ring with like a clasp on it. That level. There's like spoons. This looks like either it's stolen or her things, or things she's found that she's hoping can make a profit.
And I think Mina will pick up whatever looks like he could, like you said, repurpose into a garment, maybe just a pin of some kind, and just say, did these wares come from a caravan?
No, these are, and she kind of like gets her hand off of her head because you're actually talking to her. These are handcrafted here in Nemoro. Does anything suit your fancy, young man?
This pin clasp might be useful for holding a cloak together, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. How much would you suggest?
For that one, 10 pennies.
10 pennies?
10 pennies.
Wow. That's a lot. How about I offer you 10 pennies for the pin and some information?
Done. Like before you got the sentence out, she agreed.
So Mina will fish around for 10 pennies. And have you seen any caravans come through trading or caravans from Samora recently?
There was the man with the pachyderm. He came through. He's still here, I think. The pachyderm is being housed at one of the noble houses. I'm not sure which one. But he did say that there were some on the way. We're hoping that they stay in town. We were hoping that he would set up, but he hasn't. So here we are. But we're hoping that the next one that comes through sets up in town.
Have you seen the Jund caravan company come through recently?
I haven't. Are they on their way as well?
I heard they might be. I think I caught up with the same merchant you're talking about. He had a really, really, really big bodyguard with him.
Yes, he did. Yes.
Yeah. He said. Well, actually, the bodyguard said that they think they're on their way.
Oh, great. Do you know if it's a large caravan?
I don't know, but they probably wouldn't wouldn't do anything for a short trip. So it's a long way to come for a small caravan.
Well, then if they're headed this way, then we'll roll out the trumpets and everything for them. I'm sorry, we don't actually have trumpets. I'm very excited to see a large caravan.
Oh yeah. As am I. It would be great to catch up with them. Thank you for the information and good luck with.
Are you staying here long?
It's not up to me. It's up to my companions, and he'll kind of point over at Seydlitz.
Sir, are you interested
staring
in
at the 3 damaged carts,
Sir,
and just wondering. He's like,
would you
huh?
would you like anything here? We have great wares made here, homemade, handcrafted here in Nemoro.
well, if you're willing to tell me, what's with the 3 damaged carts? Are they just abandoned?
I'm sure they have an owner. I haven't seen them. In fact, I don't own this one. I just use it.
Seydlitz lets out like a hearty laugh.
Are you in the market for a cart?
I don't have the cash to buy a good cart.
I could sell one for 5 moons.
I'd have to discuss with my companions.
Sure. Yeah. No. Let you and I'm sorry. I didn't get your name.
It's Mina Han. My parents used to run a little tailoring cart. I don't think they ever came here. Well, my mum came here once, but that was a special order.
Most people don't come here anymore, or they just pass through. I'm Tris, by the way. Thank you for and if anyone else needs any kind of if you need something specific, I can probably find something.
I think my brother-in-law came through here a few times back in the old days.
Is he a merchant? Is he an important merchant? Could you have him come through again? Could you send him a letter?
He's a caravan captain.
Oh, does he want to come through again? Does he have a caravan?
I haven't spoken to him in a few weeks.
Well, if you do, we have plenty of space for a caravan.
Are things that bad here?
She
Say just looks up.
She looks down at the broken pieces of jewelry that she's trying to pawn off to you and says, "They've been better." She did just try to sell you a cart that she doesn't own, so use that as however you will.
Seydlitz picked up on it like, yeah, that's bad.
It's not good times here in Old Nemoro.
Yeah. Mina will just say, thank you for your time, Tris, and thank you for the information. I'll definitely see what I can do about getting a caravan coming through here soon. Hopefully, the Jund company is coming through soon.
That would be amazing. And if there's anything else you need or your friends, that would be great.
I would like one more question then,
Sure.
Tris. He points at the Noel Manors. Is like, if everything is so bad for everybody else, how do they still have anything?
That's a fairly large assumption. It's less bad for them. Still not great.
Still feels fishy.
I mean, when you have more than most, even if you lose half of it, half of nothing is still nothing.
You're just paranoid, Seydlitz, and Mina will leave the trinket on the table and walk back to the bathhouse.
Okay. Seydlitz, do you follow?
Yeah, and so it's gonna start. It's like, I can't wait to get home. Mina, where are you from, again?
All over, really. Our base kind of traveling around the RuneScape, sorry. from Samora to anywhere that needs tailoring supplies, really.
Seydlitz is going while they're walking back. He's looking around and he catches the eyes of one of those missing people posters, and he stops and just kind of stares and looks at it.
Mm-hmm.
Does it say anything special? Like he just picks one random.
So what you can see is as you kind of look around, they date back a few months. And most of them are just descriptions of missing people. Like it's like age, rough height, physical appearance, what they were last seen wearing. And that's about it. A lot of them all look fairly similar to that. Yeah, so what are you looking for specifically?
He's just he's thinking to himself, is like he's wondering why there's so many of them.
That's a good question. You do see that there are, like I said, there are like posters that are on top of posters. So they do go back quite some time. The oldest one you find immediately around you is probably like 3 months ago.
And they date to things like yesterday, right?
They don't actually have a date on them. But you can tell by like age, like this is like, it's like 3 posters back, or like it's torn and tattered from like several storms kind of thing. Some of them do look like slightly newer, like they were put there a couple days ago.
Mina, what do you think of this?
I mean, I've passed through here a couple of times. We tend not to stay. It's not the safest place. I guess if this was Corso, missing people wouldn't raise suspicion, but being old Nemoro, they might actually have people that care.
Given the fact we just fought a bunch of slavers. And
Yeah.
the eyes kind of gaze out towards the gate, out to the road. It's kind of like, I wonder if that's what happened.
Or it could be these Final Clave lunatics. Just sacrificing random people.
All we know about them is by hearsay. I think you all are being too paranoid on that. I understand that you don't want to be thrown into a freaking sacrifice pit.
I mean, this information is probably the most tangible we've had about people chasing us. Apart from the King of Nod, I think it's prudent to be wary of anyone. And the dream I had last night felt quite urgent.
Let's head back for now, I guess. I don't think we're going to be staying here long.
Yeah, I think maybe at least one night. Hopefully the trading company will come tomorrow.
You see Mike activate another corruption bar. You see a woman stumble out of an alley. Not stumble in the way that the man stumbled out of the tavern. She is in like tattered pants that like sort of they end like at calf level, and you can see that she's in like an older shirt. She's trying to make herself as presentable as possible, but you can see that like her hair is kind of caked. It looks like the alleyway is also possibly a home, and she sort of stumbles towards you. You can tell she's injured, but she stumbles towards you, and she like looks wild-eyed at you, Mina, who is carrying a large shield and spear, and she sort of like grabs onto you. It's enough for like Seydlitz to get startled, like, as you're kind of like watchful of things happening.
Seydlitz roles identifying and assessing danger.
You don't need to. She looks like your best guess is she's a beggar. Worst case scenario, cut purse. But she stumbles over and she's like kind of not like babbling, but you can tell she's like crying, and she kind of grabs onto you, Mina, and she's like, please help him. and she's kind of like wringing your arm. Like one hand is on your wrist, one hand is like pulling on like the sleeve of your shoulder. Please, you're a warrior. You can help him. You can find him. Please.
Yeah, of course. Calm down. Who can we help?
My son is missing. He's and she like motions towards the posters. He's missing. He was it was just yesterday. He was here. He was playing and he's gone. I don't know where he could have gone.
Where did you last see him?
I saw him in the courtyard. He was playing where the merchants were. Him and a couple of other boys. I don't know if the boys are gone either.
Take us there.
She kind of like turns you around and points to the giant open field you guys are just in. It's right here, and she like is yanking on Mina, dragging you back towards the merchant area. They were playing here. There was four boys and my son, and I don't know if the boys are missing either, but I know that my son is.
Seydlitz, can you pick up any tracks or anything?
Following tracks is going to be hard since the rain from last night could dilute them, but I can see.
Okay. Roll me. It's going to be a difficulty 5. Tracking. That's going to be intelligence.
I have following and identifying tracks as a skill.
That'll work. And you're welcome to spend an effort if you'd like.
I'm applying an effort to roll. Nope.
Okay. You can spend XP to re-roll if you have any XP. If you'd like.
I'll give it one re-roll.
Okay. See what you got. Oh, unfortunate. You rolled the same thing twice? That's rough.
No, I rolled an 11 this time. I rolled better, but...
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, so you are completely correct. With the rain from the previous night, any number of people walking through, it is hard to determine, based on my son is missing, which tracks could have been his. What you do find is there is a large area off of the road that has a lot of small tracks, like smaller footprints. Likely this is the area that the boys were playing in. But from there, it's kind of hard to see where any of them went. They just sort of blend in with the rest of the footprints. But it looks as though she's truthful in that there were boys playing, or there were small feet playing in this area. So she's probably not trying to fleece you.
Is there anything, looking around from where we are there any obvious kids hanging around, or the quickest means of egress from the area?
Roll me a difficulty 3 intelligence perception kind of roll. Okay. You notice that unlike the rest of the town, this area is vacant of most people. The only people that are in here are the two salesmen, the two merchants. You see that there are no children in this area.
And is there an obvious, putting myself in the kidnapper's shoes, if I was to take someone, where would be the quickest and least obvious place to take?
Unfortunately, this area is basically like a circle kind of cut out of the town. So any direction would lead towards buildings, following the road or not. Like you can literally just spin in a circle and go that direction, you'll hit a building. And as far as you can tell, there doesn't seem to be any kind of guard here. So unless someone were inclined to stop them, anyone could just snatch someone up.
Mina will head back to Triss and just say, sorry, one more thing. Did you see some young boys playing around here yesterday?
Oh, I did. They, yes, I saw four or five young men. They were here, just over there, where you were. I half expected to see them back today. It's the only thing that's been going on for the past couple days.
Did anything unusual happen yesterday? With I guess, approached by anyone, or?
I think so. Yes. Yeah. One of them, they finished playing their game, and they headed that way. And she points back the direction you guys came from. And they were approached by. I'm sorry, I'm not sure what it was. They were approached by someone in a black cloak and hood.
That's not suspicious at all. Did you see where they went after that?
Several of the boys kind of scattered, and one of them went with the man.
And where did they go?
Like that way, and she points like towards the direction of the tavern you guys were just going, but slightly off to the north.
And Mina will grab a few pennies out and say, "Thanks again for your time."
Anything else? Anything you need? And she like slides that off onto her hand.
Yeah. Mina will look at Seydlitz. Did you get that?
I heard it all.
Let's go. And he will turn to the mother and say, just wait where you normally stay, and hope he comes back. We'll see what we can find out for you.
Okay. Do the two of you head off to the tavern, or do you head off to the vague direction that the merchant gave you?
Seydlitz is heading north. He doesn't feel like he could drag Antares or Korax into us. He doesn't feel like they would help him.
Okay.
Yeah, if Seydlitz is heading in that direction, Mina will go too.
Okay, perfect. You guys follow this this way direction that the merchant sort of gave you, and as you disappear into the shadows between buildings, we cut back to Korax in the tavern. Korax, what are you doing?
Once Korax has finished his conversation with the trader, he stands up, bows to him, nods to the lady with the gigantic sword on her back, picks up his knife, pockets it, and he goes and sits in a corner. If there is one available, if there isn't, he'll sit as cornerish as he can.
Okay.
Pulls his hood up, and he just starts watching the people that are in there.
Sure.
Watching people coming and going, pretending he's reading a book.
Okay. Are you trying to gain any insight here, or are you just being shady?
He's trying to understand who's who in the bar.
Okay.
He spent many nights in a tavern watching potential pickpockets, people that he knows
Okay.
that did pickpocketing. Because generally they potentially work for someone, at least in Corso they did.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't just do it for themselves. Are people coming in here and paying tribute to someone that's sitting here? Is anything shady happening in this room?
Roll me a difficulty 4, discerning true motives.
Difficulty 4. That is an intelligence roll.
It is.
No bonuses, difficulty 4, and I'm going to use some effort on that. Just one. Yeah, just one.
Okay. Yeah, you kind of look around this place. There is no sort of deal happening here. No one's sort of running in and out of places. This doesn't seem to be a central hub of crime. You notice that obviously the merchant seems out of place here, but you've kind of gathered that yourself. The two people that are similarly behaving like you are, there seem to be two average-sized framed humans in a similar style cloak and hood pulled up that seem to be huddled kind of close together conversing. They seem a little out of place comparative to like the brigands. and you notice that for whatever reason, you would think in like a rough and tumble kind of town, or like a crimey town that this is appearing to be. This tavern is in disrepair, especially on the outside, but there is no evidence of bar fight. There is no evidence of like any furniture being broken inside. There's no evidence of any kind of rough play inside this place, which also strikes you as suspicious given its clientele. Your best guess is like either this place is important, somebody important owns it, somebody important has influence here. You're not entirely sure what it is. But coupled with the fact that there's a secret hot spring underneath it with a secret hostel, that kind of also checks out. You're not sure if everyone knows that that exists, but it seems as though the interior of this place is, for lack of a better word, respected.
Right. Okay.
Okay. Are you doing
Yep.
anything with that information, or are you just kind of observing continuingly?
The fact that the two gentlemen were extra suspicious, he's going to focus more time just watching them
Okay.
than the rest of the brigands. If they just seem to be enjoying a night in the tavern, he's going to stop paying mind to them if they're not paying him any mind.
Sure.
And he's just going to keep an eye on the other two and see if they leave, see if they do anything, see
Sure.
if they interact with anyone in particular.
As the night kind of goes on, the things you notice are, one, Mina and Seydlitz have been gone for longer than you expected, and two, the two people in the corner are roughly your age, if you had to guess. They are a man and a woman of their like elder teen-ish years, and they seem to be talking together about something and not paying attention to really anything else anyone's doing. As the day draws on, they do eventually excuse themselves and, well, not really excuse, but they get up and they head to the upstairs where their rooms are. They are apparently staying here. But no one's following them. They don't talk to anyone else. They are only talking to each other. And as they get up, because you've spent so much time watching them, you notice that their cloaks are kind of drawn fairly tight. However, you do see that the pants that you can see are slightly finer than what everyone else is wearing. However, the hem is caked in mud as if they had walked here. And their shoes are also a little dingy from walking here from some distance, you would guess, by like the length of mud on the hem. And as they depart to their rooms, the camera sort of pans down into the underground, and we see Antares, Dreshin, and Sephany with Arua. Antares, what have you been doing? You also realize that time has passed, and Korax, Mina, and Seydlitz have not returned.
Yeah, she has known that, or noticed that. She would have eventually moved away from the baby, especially with that. You said like there was like that aura of like peace and like contentment kind of flowing over her. I think that eventually that would have overwhelmed her a little bit, and she would have got up like shaky breath, and moved back and sat across the way on her own bed. And yeah, and eventually when more time passes and they haven't returned. So you trust these men?
Who you just out in the open?
She addresses, out in the open.
Dreshin looks to you, having not spoken in a second, kind of breaks the silence. I do. And Stephanie looks up and says, yeah, we do. They, as I said, they came in a time of need. They answered Dreshin's call, and they kept me and Arua safe from whatever it was, and they still have. They've kept us safe ever since.
Okay.
Do
That's it.
you have a reason not to?
I'm just wondering where they are. They've been gone quite a long time.
It is true. They have been gone most of the day, I think. Is everything okay?
I wouldn't know, but the longer you spend in this town, the more attention you get. So the longer they're gone, the less optimistic I am. She kind of like sighs and like kind of leans back against the wall. This was supposed to be a safe place for us to stay, but if they're not in it, I can't guarantee the safety that I promised them.
Dreschen looks over at you and says, should I
No.
go? Okay.
No. I'm sorry to be so blunt. Dreschen, you're a prime target here. As long as we're here, if we ever go topside, don't stray far away from me, okay?
Sure, yes.
Both of you.
Right. Is there someone we can ask to find them, to check on them?
No. She gets up and she looks to where all her gear is.
Mm-hmm.
Like her leather vest and stuff like that. Looks back down to her clean clothes. And she's gonna put her vest back on and her cloak and arm her and put her sword back on her. You two stay here. Do not leave or anything. I'll be back.
Of course, I'll stay here. And Stephanie looks to you and she kind of like folds something over the baby. We'll be fine.
Okay.
Do you lock the door when you leave, or do you just head upstairs? Okay.
Yeah, she locks the door.
Cool. So you lock the door, you head up the switchback stairs, you slide open the wall, slide it back closed, and you quietly enter into the tavern?
Yep.
Fantastic. As you enter into the tavern, the final corruption bar comes into play, and as you open the door to the tavern and sort of slink out, Korax, you hear this like weird like kind of music. You hear sound, right? No one else seems to react to it, but it draws your attention. And you look over towards the cupboard that you know to be a secret safe house, and there stands Antares, a giant sigil glowing above her head. And as you register exactly what that sigil is, the front door of the tavern opens, and there stands a lone reconciliator. And that is where we end today's episode of The Rise.
What?
What's a corruption?
Oh, boy!
Oh, no.
You fuckers!
Reconciliator.
Boy!
I knew I should have stayed where I was.
Get
God
you some.
Damn it.
Split the party. Double it down. Hell yes. Let's
Son of a
go
Mike's gonna
around.
enjoy reading my player thoughts tonight, huh?
Yep. Let's go around, do our outros, get the hell out of here, do our after show so we can talk about that dumpster fire of an ending, for you guys at least. Yeah, so we will start in the top of my screen. Chris, who are you? Where can we find you? What are you up to?
I'm Chris, aka Necro. You can only find me in the Discord. I am nowhere else. Discord.
Perfect. Snow, who are you? Where can we find you? What are you up to?
Snow or Norm, same as Necro, in the Discord or here whenever we play at whatever time.
Definitely Sunday at 4 p.m. G, who are you? Where can we find you? What are you up to?
I'm G Lightning Invoker on Twitch. You'll find me here for all the Patreon games, and you'll find me modding for Nomadic and for Gnome Brew, and on Twitter, LightningSpaz09.
Hell yeah. And last but not least, Nat, who are you? Where can we find you? And what are you up to?
I'm Matt or D. You can find me here on Mike's Discord or just kind of randomly around Twitch about places.
Hell freaking yes. That's it from us. Again, if you guys like what you see here, you want to support the channel, Patreon, link for that down below. You get all kinds of exclusive access to cool things, including the after show, which we're about to go shoot right now. And while you're down there, hit that Discord button, join us in the Discord, be a part of the community, be a part of the conversation. But for now, we'll see you next month for more Rise. So from all of us to you guys, bye-bye.